BrentoCast, Season 2, with your host, Brent Bowers.
Oh, yeah, and we're back. BrentoCast 55, March 26, 2024. It's been about a month since the last BrentoCast. I'm sitting in a parking lot eating blueberries and drinking coffee. About to fill it to the rim like a cup of coffee with all of the latest Brento news, man, because there's a lot to cover. We're gearing up for Easter holiday season. And I don't know why, but, well, yeah, I do know why, because I love getting their stuff. But Nancy and I both treat Easter like Christmas with regards to Delilah. I've already bought her like a $40 set of building magnets, like building block magnets that she loves. Also, about 30 little Lego, man. We play with Legos a lot. Lego people to put inside of eggs as a special surprise. And I bought a new suit, 2 shirts, and 2 ties so that I can dress up while we're at the Valentine Hotel and Spa this weekend. We're staying Saturday night so that we can do early morning Easter egg hunt. And of course, it's at school, just dropped Delilah off, and they're about to have an Easter egg hunt there. So it's like the Easter egg hunting and, joviality starts earlier. I really do think that it's easy for folks to forget the reason for the season, of course, being Jesus's crucifixion and resurrection. But I don't. But it is a happy time. So summer is coming on here in North Carolina. It's coming on slowly because we're still having these cold days, these snapback cold days, which I love. But it does play havoc on the old. If you have allergies, it makes it worse. And I don't typically have allergies, but the back and forth with the temperature can definitely do a number on my nose. This morning, I actually am having Dunkin' Donuts instead of, and that's my first cup of coffee since I think last Saturday. I'm having about 1 to 2 cups a week now. When I get the urge for coffee, I'm substituting mushroom, drink, which is like a coffee. I mean, it's sort of to replace that, and that's been working pretty good. Other than that, I've been slightly slack on the diet, mainly just because we've had these colds here and there that everybody's trying to get through. And the last thing you want to do is deprive yourself when you're having a cold. But I digress. That is kind of my modus operandi. If I get a cold, that's probably not going to be strict on the diet. But anyway, gotta live some, man. Gotta live some. One of the ladies in the detox, Margaret, has lost 100 pounds. Doing Nancy's detox and making no cheat days for 1 year. She lost 0.37 of a pound per day for a year. So she's lost 100 pounds. Crazy. That gets me of a mind that if I really tortured myself, I could do it. But I realize I'm about living life. I don't want to torture myself. So we will see. I do need to lose some weight, as always. But I have lost a little bit since giving up bread, and that has certainly not hurt. Now, I've had bread here or there. I'm having a cheat meal right now, but in point of fact, I don't cheat in certain ways. Cheating for me does not mean having bread, typically. But, anywho, it's an overcast day here in Albemarle. Yesterday, I got of a mind to look up what day I was born. And I was born on Woden'sdag, which is, Woden means Day of Woden. Woden, of course, being the Old English version of Odin, the chief god of Norse mythology, the god of knowledge, wisdom, and war. And those three don't seem to sit well together with me because it seems like knowledge and wisdom would lead away from war, but not in Norse mythology. But these were also the people that believed that plucking one of your eyes out gave you power, because it made you like Odin, who had only one eye after his many battles But I digress. And so I got to thinking about it, and I looked up Nancy's birthday. Now, of course, Nancy's birthday was assigned to her, so it's not her actual birthday. They just looked at her teeth, and she was adopted. She was abandoned on the streets of Korea, so she was adopted. And I just looked at her teeth to guesstimate her age, so it might not be 100% accurate. But the day that is her birthday, September 3rd, 1969, was also Woden's dog on Wednesday. So, and then I got thinking about Delilah's birthday in 2019. That was a Thursday, but it's funny, I had misremembered it as a Saturday, but it was in fact a Thursday. But very, very interesting. I don't know why I got a mind to do that. But for one thing, with AI, you can ask questions like that, and it's just instant feedback. You don't have to do too much searching, so it makes it very, very easy. Music is, the booking of music at Loafers is going fine. The recording with the new group of guys is going good, but I will say that the last month was tough because of having trouble getting everybody together. Now, I am attempting, and we'll see how this goes. Just to say it as plainly as I know how to say it, I'm about making new music and recording it. If we can play live and have a good time at it, and it doesn't turn out to be this huge amount of work for very little feedback or whatever, then I'm with that. But generally speaking, we haven't had enough rehearsal, and May the 11th is our opportunity to play on the deck at Loafers if all goes to plan. And there's still a number of things that could happen that could stop that from happening. But that, of course, it would be at the tail end of the Celtic Festival at Loch Baden. And that's always a big event. Now, they're opening up Falls Dam that day. I'm definitely going to be out there early that day to go take that tour because I haven't seen Falls Dam since my dad and I worked on it probably 20 years ago. If you've never seen that dam, the inside of the powerhouse and all that, that is a tour that you really want to take. But I digress. I digress a lot. I have recently purchased a new suit, so anyway, I'm kind of excited about having all that together for this Easter, where usually I just go in jeans. And the big deal over there is that on Easter, they have this Easter egg hunt, and then they have this high tea, which is fancy. Probably the fanciest catered event we ever go to. Very expensive, and I mean, Nancy's into it. So it's about the girls, and they're going to be dressed up, and it's about the pictures. So this year being her 5th birthday, Delilah's, I wanted to dress a little nicer. That said, I have a full beard now, and I have not colored it at all this time, and I think I'm going to avoid coloring it. I may henna it at some point, but that's not going to be this weekend. So it's like I got the full gray, the full mountain man going on, if you will. And my hair is at that length where I can tie the ponytail at the top, but I haven't tied a total ponytail, and I don't think I want to go to that trouble. So I think I'm just going to slick the hair back on top and let it be sort of like a faux mullet in the back, if you know, and just go that way. And also in the middle of all this, we're going to be swimming, and they got like a big whirlpool and a cool pool, and so we're meeting Ansel and his family over there, so Delilah will have her buddy Sophia to do stuff with, and putting those girls together and having little things. We did one the other week where we went out and had dinner with them, and then went to see Kung Fu Panda 4, and it's we like to do that sort of thing. Delilah, as soon as she turns 5, I mean, I've mentioned this before, she will be in piano lessons until I've decided she's mastered piano. So that is a priority for me. I wish that my parents had forced me earlier on, because how it would have changed my life to have been able to speak my mind in music in my teens. There's no telling. There's literally just no telling how it would have changed my life. My confidence, some of the people that I spent time with, I probably would have avoided altogether, which would have been a good thing. And I would have probably spent my time with a different set, being a musician at that time. But, yeah, there were no real musicians to think of. There was a couple guys that could play piano, but there were no rock bands in my school until kind of like when I was 19, I started noticing dudes that were doing that. But actually, when I was in school, I don't know of a single one. So it's not like I missed my chance to be Chuck Berry. Just I probably ran around with some girls that I wouldn't have, and try to be part of certain cliques that I would have had no interest in, and really didn't then, but thought it was the thing to do, kind of a thing. Football, I don't regret playing football for sure, but I think if I had had another thing that was my passion, that I could have put that more in its place of just being that thing that you're going to get to do for a very short time, a number of years, and maybe just enjoyed it for what it was instead of thinking of it as a way to go to college or whatnot, which I definitely had that mindset. I just had some profoundly bad coaches, unfortunately. Had one or two decent ones, but then a lot of the head coach situation was not great at South Stanley then, and I'm sure, those guys don't make a ton of money. Just being a great football player does not make you a great coach, and I hate to pick on Charles Phillips, but I think he was a great football player who was not a great coach. But I digress. Hope he's doing well these days. I know I heard he had some health trouble. I don't know if he's even living, to be honest with you. And it's that way about a lot of my old teachers and stuff. The ones that are on social media, of course, I keep up with, and several of them keep up with me, which is cool. But, yeah, so since my last podcast, I think one of my favorite teachers' son, who was a couple years younger than me and apparently healthy, just went to bed one night and didn't wake up the next day. In addition to my friend, Bill Herman, which you guys are well aware of, passing away at 51, in which he had problems. He had well-known health problems. But for somebody just to go to bed at 52 and not wake up, man, I'll tell you what, it's a shocker, dude. This world has changed, and I would recommend that you guys are very selective about any vaccines that you get. I will just say, I don't recall it being this way prior to 2020, let's just say. So, it was unheard of to hear of a young person just dropping dead. And since the so-called vaccine, I have heard a lot of that, people just dropping dead. Now, once in a while, you hear somebody that, would have like a heart defect that nobody knew about dying. But and the frequency with which it happens now, it's just off the chart. But hey, these podcasts are not about woe is me. They are about, here's all the cool stuff that we're doing. So if I ever get a chance to listen back, or Delilah comes along and wants to listen to what happened on this week, the week of March 26, 2024, she can hear that I recently had a little writing session with the folks over at Rekindled Church. That was fun. Worked on a couple of Christian songs that maybe at some point I'll be able to record. Whether or not I'm able to record it with those guys, I don't know. I'd love to do that, but I don't know if that will carry on. And I haven't heard anything about a second writing session. So they have a big event called Praise Fest every year that I think they're kind of focused on right now, which happens in August. And they're having it at a better venue this year. Last year they had it at City Lake Park, and it was blazing out there. The event area that they're having it at now has a covered area, so I hope that it goes off much better. But it's really cool to see Christian music get a chance to have its day. That's something that's sort of unheard of if you don't go to Sunday morning church every week. But anyway, knowing that music is coming when Delilah is 11, which, when she's 5, July the 11th, definitely going to make sure that she starts that week. Like it's just it's a life goal for me that she goes to music from age 5 on until she has mastered the piano. And then it'll be another instrument if I have my way. I have this feeling that she's going to be like, I already feel like she's my child. She is in so many ways. She's, of course, my granddaughter. But right now, we had her 6 nights last week. And I'm good with that. Other than the fact that it seems to stress Nancy out because of the hours she works, and that's understandable. I am good with it. And I see her room being at our house. She's got 3 different homes right now, technically. With Summer and Patrick out there in Stanfield, she's got her own room and tons of toys, and she loves it. And I'm happy for that. She's got a room dedicated to her at my mother's, tons of clothes and toys and a piano. And then she's got my house, where basically just the whole house is hers, but eventually we're going to have her own dedicated room there. And I'm just happy as a pig and poo to have her around. It's wonderful. It's like my focus of my life right now. I'm so happy to be here for it, and I want to continue to be here for it, which is part of my drive to get back in shape. But that said, I got the recommendation from Stanley Gymnastics that she be kept in the 2 to 4 class, and I'm like, see, that's just organized play, and it has benefited her strength-wise because of the kinds of things they play at. And I'm not opposed to doing that and carrying on, but lately, we have been, out of the whole month, we're lucky if we get her to 2 sessions, and of course you pay the same thing whether they come or not. And knowing that music expense is coming, I kind of want to take her out of gymnastics for a month or so, and if she misses it and she wants to go back to it, they're having summer camp come up, so it's structured differently anyway. So I thought maybe a little break between here, the end of the school year, and summer break. And then if she really wants to do it, then I'll make it happen if she really wants to do it. But she has a good time, but I think she would have just as good a time at the park playing, frankly. And she's got one friend that is in her class, and she's all about that. So when they're there, it's she's really happy with it. But like sometimes she'll go and that other girl will be out, or she's got a class of about 6 or 7 girls. And lots of times it'll be down to 1 or 2 of them. I mean, the cold situation is out of control. I mean, that's part of her, being this young. And like this week, she doesn't have a cold, and that might be the first week in about 2 months that I feel like she hasn't had any kind of cold. So, it's just trying to find the best, most salubrious path, and trying to watch the money, because I know it's going to get expensive, because she's if I can make it happen, she's getting it. It's as simple as that. Like, I don't want her to ever feel like she doesn't get to go on a class trip, or she doesn't get to go do a sport she wants to do. I would say this is one of the positives of her dad not being around very much, is that we overcompensate with positive feedback, positive reinforcement, and positive opportunities. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think in a lot of ways, it's beneficial to her, and she certainly seems very, very happy. I mean, that's my focus. As long as that's being met, I feel like I'm doing my job in that regard. We've been working up with the Legends work. I'm calling them, that's not the band name, but I'm calling this group of guys that we're playing with right now Legends Jam Band. That's going to change. But my focus with those guys, I kind of jump around these podcasts, sorry. My focus with those guys is, so right now, as of this moment, Harrison and I are just a couple songs away, just tweaks on a couple songs away from having essentially 3 albums worth of material. Now, when and how we release that remains to be seen. I don't know. I still have another of my own albums to release this year, which I hope to start working on very soon, maybe even today. But the new music with the new guys is, I've been trying for a while to produce an album for Mark Woodward, whom I met, I guess, about a year ago at Loafers. He made a note. He was talking about the other day. He made a note. It was in May of last year, and so not quite a year. And I enjoyed him singing at karaoke down there, and I just said, I got to know that guy because he's got talent. And also, it struck me that he was a songwriter. Like, I don't know why I knew that from him. Well, number one, he was picking difficult Billy Joel songs that most people avoid, because there's Billy Joel material that just about anybody can sing, and there's a whole lot of it that's very syncopated. I'm going to give you an example. New York State of Mind, that's a challenging song vocally. Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, cadence-wise, that is a challenging song, and lots of lyrics. So he's done those 2, and when he did, I'll just say, like, that's probably my favorite Billy Joel song is Scenes from an Italian Restaurant, just because you just can't get bored with that song. I mean, it goes from one thing to the next, and it's like a bunch of different songs rolled into one. But I really enjoyed that, and I thought, man, that's the best karaoke performance I think I've ever heard. I digress. The night that I went up to him and said, introduced myself, I said, hey, do you do original music? He's like, yeah, I've done some. And I said, well, I'm Brent Bowers. I produce music, write songs. We should get together, and that's how our friendship started. And since that time, I've just, I really come to respect Mark a lot. Just, not just as a musician, but he's a heck of a musician, but also as a person and stuff. And we've gotten to have dinner with him and his wife a couple times. And, I just consider him a new friend that I feel like I'm closer to than the average new friend that I get, like at 54. And there's a lot of parallels between us. Let's just put it like that. We have a lot of common interests. So getting to play with him and trying to, first I was approaching it like a commercial product. And then I was like, you know what? this guy might not be into that. He might be like too busy with his stuff to see himself doing an album that he funds and whatnot. So I was like, well, look, like with a lot of people, I don't care about the money. I just want to make original music happen. And that's kind of my passion with it. And I was like, hey, why don't we just get together with these other guys and get in the room? We'll get everything set up where we can just headphone everybody in and just start making up songs. And that's the thing that got him. When we actually got into the room and I just said, hey, let's just do a little blues thing. Now, I'm playing bass. I'm not really a bass player, so I'm limited on the things that I know I can sound good on. So I just started rolling off this little blues pattern on the just the E blues, on the bass, and then he just started playing along, and he just like throws this lyric out. Well, I'm sitting in my driveway, and that was the impetus. And from there, we wrote a song in like 7-8 minutes. And he was blown away that there was this whole song, this whole story that he didn't have to sit there and agonize on. And believe you me, I get that. That's how I used to write. When you write in a vacuum, you have to be kind of hard on yourself. And that song came together super quick. And he was, at the end of it, he kept saying, 15 minutes ago, this song didn't exist. And that's, and he was struck by it. And the actual sound of the rough recording was decent. And so from there, we worked and refined that one. And then we wrote another one and this other one. And so I said, look, man, let's just all get together as we can, and we'll jam. And when we come up with a new song, we'll record that song. Hey, we're all plugged into the board right here at Secret Studios. No problem. The only obstacle really is a small amount of gear obstacles, because sometimes headphones don't work the way they're supposed to. And then just technical learning for me and Harrison. But in a nutshell, nothing stops us from expense-free recording these tracks, And I thought, if we jam together for a year, we're going to have an album worth of material. It could be even like a live-ish thing that we didn't do overdubs on, or we could do overdubs. And so that led to, that first song led to me going over to his house, and we did a jam. The next jam was more of a rock thing that I just threw some lyrics from another song. I took, hey, just sing these 2 lines. And then we ended up writing a whole new song, and it had like a little da-da-da-da hook in it. And I was playing bass, and Will was playing drums, and Harrison was playing electric. And then I think also Tim Harris was with us. He was playing 12-string. And we all just kind of put this Grateful Dead jam down. We ended up refining that. I went over to his house one night, and we're literally sitting there at baby grand pianos pointed toward each other like freaking Billy Joel and Elton John. And I was like, dude, this is cool. This is really cool. I could barely play piano. This is really cool. And we wrote that way, and that song morphed. And now we have really 3 versions of the song, and we're talking about doing another version of it to change the arrangement somewhat. But I could just tell that got in his gray matter, and he for sure spent the time with it in his own mind and just made it better. And then I did like a poetic pass to sort of make his lyrics, even more poetic. And it's just, so my goal when I write new songs with any project, if unless the songs are given to me and I'm just producing them, but if I have a hand in writing it, my goal is to make sure that song is my newest favorite thing. And so far that has worked. We're 2 songs into this, and each song, the latest song now, is my favorite thing. So it's amazing. And, I'm just having the greatest time with it. And hopefully we get to carry this on. And hopefully the show on May the 11th at Loafers Outside on the Deck will come off, and all expectations will be met. And then we'll go back to focusing on recording for the rest of the year, or maybe we'll play another show at some point. I just want to keep money out of it for as long as possible. These guys all seem to be down with that at the moment. Great to be back playing with Will after we tried to play together in another guy's band, and that dude was so difficult to work with. It left both of us kind of feeling like we had wasted a bunch of time. And I know my ability and I know his ability, so there's no reason for us not to be able to have a cool band experience. And maybe this will get to be it. But anyway, that is a reasonable update for March 26, 2024. Episode 55 of BrentoCast. Now, what I might do is do another one sooner, because there's going to be a lot going on this coming weekend. So I imagine I would have more to report from the Easter happenings at that time. But if all goes to plan, that's what we'll be doing. Peace be unto you all. Johnny Brento loves you. Have a great week.